What's up, teammates? Back. I know it's been a minute, but just doing a lot of things going through it. Anyway, so I did do this quarterback comparison thing that I was talking about. Uh, I did it for all of them, man, for the whole season. I mean, for the whole season, all the quarterbacks for un, under the Antonio Pierce era and what they were able to perform. And well, let me tell you how I came about the number. First, what I did was I ranked each quarterback in each category. Categories being, um, what the hell are the categories? Here we go. Completion percentage, touchdowns, interceptions, sacks, uh, rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, and basically a plus 4. Yeah, total rushing yards. So we add all those numbers up. We get to the nose numbers because, if you're first in each category, then you have the lowest number because you would just be adding a 1 per category. So we take each category, we rank all the players. Once you're in that rank gives you a number. The way the numbers goes is if you're tied for third, then everybody gets a 3. If you're tied for any number, each person in that area gets a 3. And then those people who are tied for fourth, the same thing. So it's not a first place, second place, third place ranking each time, because when there's ties, we don't give an extra point to either person. We just average the points out. Okay, so, and that seems like a pretty fair way to judge quarterbacks to me. If we judge quarterback to quarterback about their rating, ranking, total them up, whoever has the lowest numbers should be the best quarterback over that time period as far as the performance goes. Now, I did that. And it sounds like it makes sense. It seemed like it makes sense. In the end, it came out making sense, but it makes for a whole lot of questions too. It's really weird the way this came out. So check this out. Over these Antonio Pierce era where Aiden O'Connell was playing, the best quarterback in the league over that time, according to the numbers that I've put together. You ready for this? It's going to piss some people off. It's Derek Carr. I don't know. That's what the numbers say. I'm back. Look, I got him right here. Derek Carr, man. He was tied for second in completion percentage, tied for fourth with touchdowns, tied for third with minimal interceptions at 4, and he was first place in sacks. He only took 12 sacks. All those numbers add up to Derek Carr being the best quarterback of the Antonio Pierce era. Who DF knew? Let's continue. Next person is Josh Allen. Back to making sense, right? Josh Allen, what's good about Josh Allen is it showed me the importance of a rushing quarterback. It showed me the benefits of a rushing quarterback, and it also shows why there's a little bit of problem having running quarterbacks. And sometimes having a running quarterback is just a wash to a certain extent. Not at all with Josh Allen, because he scored 15 rushing touchdowns, and that's going to do your numbers really a lot of justice. Matter of fact, those 15 rushing touchdowns took him from, what was he? Oh, he took him from 12th to 1st. That took a lot of points down. So in the overall ranking, he was at 9. Once I factored in all the rushing, this fool jumped all the way up to second-rated quarterback. Who knew? So it's starting to make sense back again. I mean, then we go down. We got Dax, Love, Purdy, Goff, Stafford, Geno, who had a breakout year, so that's why his numbers are up here. Lamar, Allen, Tua, Burrow, who's making sense. We're still up at the top of the best quarterbacks. uh, Lawrence. And here we come to the middle of the rack with Lawrence, Wilson, and I say these in the middle rack because these are the quarterbacks they scored basically in their 20s. So we got a few quarterbacks here that we should be interested in. So let's talk about these four quarterbacks that are right in the middle, right next to each other, and it's pretty crazy the way it worked out. This quarterback, starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos last year, Russell Wilson, comes at you with 25 total points to make for his ranking. We have the starting quarterback for this Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, who comes up with a total of 25 points for his ranking. We have Justin Herbert, starting quarterback for the Bolts of Los Angeles. Total points 25. I'm serious. I did this. I did the math. And what's the funniest part of it all? Starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, Aiden O'Connell. Total points for his ranking 25 points. Yes, all three quarterbacks in our league have the exact same ranking. It's the numbers, dude. It's not. I do the numbers, okay? So, what did that say to me? It says that Aiden can win because people with these numbers are winning, and it says that coaching means a whole hell of a lot. Because if Patrick Mahomes can win with those at that ranking, and then people, you may look and say, "There's no way that Patrick Mahomes and Aiden O'Connell's numbers can compare to each other at the end of the season." That's not possible. Patrick Mahomes is doing so much better. His team went to the playoffs, won the damn Super Bowl. There's no way his numbers are even near comparable to Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't make any sense for it to be. Because you think with a great quarterback play is the only way you can win. Now, I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes isn't a great quarterback. He is. What we're explaining it to is what makes a good quarterback a winning quarterback. Because what Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback who can do great things at the right time. And that's what's important. That's why Patrick Mahomes is good, because when it comes down to it, when the rubber meets the road and it's time to create something, or it's time to execute something, or it's time to figure out how to make it happen, Patrick Mahomes makes it happen some way or the other. And that's why he won the Super Bowl. We all saw it. So we know who Mahomes is. We're not talking about that off the field, head and whatever experience and things of those natures. We're not talking about how you put it together when you're putting it together. What we're talking about is the numbers, the performance, and the record. Okay? And how, if you use the correct quarterback in the right system where everybody around them is doing their job, then the quarterback can make it happen without having to break his back on it. People look at it, and even I, like the rest of the people, look at it as Patrick Mahomes is throwing the team on his shoulders and just taking them to the promised land every year. And it's not like that. Just because he's winning the MVP all the time, he's the closer. The rest of the team is the ones that gets the runs and that gets us up. And the pitching is the one that, kept the other team off. Now, what they got is the closer. And that's what Patrick Mahomes does. He comes in and he cleans everything up. And if there's any mistakes, he overrides them with good fastballs and strikeouts. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he has. And that's what makes him who he is. But what does he do over an expanded amount of time as a quarterback is a completely different story. And winning is not about what your quarterback does. And this is going to show you that. Winning is more about what your defense does and what your offensive coordinator does and what your head coach does. It's more about that than what any other player on the team does. And that's what I've realized coming through and looking at these stats. Because Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. Josh Allen is a good quarterback. But people don't give Dak as much credit. People are in love with Love, but and he gets the credit for being where he is. People think Purdy's the greatest, and he's up there. He got his 15 points. These numbers are good. So if these numbers make sense from the top, they should make sense to the middle and all the way to the bottom. And they do, because at the bottom, you see Bryce Young with 41 freaking points. Okay? So I'm confident in my scoring system. Okay? And look at the scoring system, there's a reason that Patrick Mahomes and every other quarterback in our division is right at the same number. Okay? And we'll just go with Patrick Mahomes' numbers just to make you understand, make us all understand exactly what he's doing. Though he's winning, and they're winning Super Bowls, it's not Patrick Mahomes himself that's doing it. There's a whole lot of things around him that people don't look at because they like to watch Patrick Mahomes escape artists and then throw the wildest throws you can make. It's entertaining, it's real, and it's true. He does that. And he does it at the most opportune times, and he's done it for years. He's great at it, and that's who he is, and that's what he does, and he's got the Super Bowls to prove it. That's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about what he does when the moment's bright and how he does it. Okay? We're talking about week to week football throughout the year. The days you got to grind it out to make those wins so you can make sure you get enough victories to get to where you want to go. Okay. So, what did Patrick Mahomes do in the Antonio Pierce era? Patrick Mahomes had 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 20 sacks, no rushing TDs, 4 fumbles, and he went 5-4. Okay? So, we'll go to Aiden O'Connell, 11 touchdowns as opposed to 12. Aiden's 5 interceptions as opposed to Patrick Mahomes' 8. Here's the big number. Aiden's 17 sacks. 17 sacks in the Antonio Pierce era. Patrick Mahomes has 20. No one says a damn thing about Patrick Mahomes being on the carpet all the damn time. Yes, he does run around. Yes, he avoids a lot of sacks. And that's why he's able to continue plays, because he does get out and get things done with his legs when need to be done. And that's great. And people celebrate him for that, as they should. But taking sacks is taking a sack. A sack is a drive killer. So if you take more sacks, you kill more drives. That's just the way it goes. That's the truth. That's the way it works out in the sheet. Sacks kill drives. You can't go from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 17 because of a sack. That kills your drive. So no matter what's going on, if you're taking more sacks per game, you're taking more sacks per game. And you're killing more drives. Now, being able to overcome that with the team around you, with the defense around you, with the fact that you got offensive playmakers like Kelsey and Pelepecato, whatever his name is, just get them the ball and let them go to work. And that's what they get Patrick Mahomes to do. If you guys want to look and understand more about it, just look at all his wide receivers and their yards. All their yards are yak. You go ahead and look at the passes. You go ahead and look at the ball in the air, and you look at how much yards they're getting after the ball is in their hands. And we went over this in another video, but it's yak. It's all yak with Patrick Mahomes. So he gets it to him short, and he lets him run long. Okay. That's why his accuracy is how high. That's because he has a smart offensive coordinator and offensive coach who knows how to set an offense up and let him work his miracles when the time comes. But overall, as an overall setting as quarterback, those numbers don't jump out at you. It's not killing. Josh Allen's numbers jump out at you. But Josh Allen keeps losing too. Why is that? Well, Josh Allen can't take care of the ball. That's his problem. He got more fumbles than any quarterback, and I think he tied for a second with interceptions. He was up there in interceptions. I'm not quite sure how high at this point in time. But outstanding quarterback play is not going to win you championships. Derek Carr had outstanding quarterback play. However it looked, on paper, his quarterback play was good. He wasn't winning. I mean, his record was a winning record, but everybody Aiden had a winning record at 5-4. Patrick Mahomes, he had a winning record at 5-4. So it's more than your quarterback. It's crazy to look at it and see how many of the top quarterbacks on the list don't get love or don't even, get too deep into the pros. To the playoffs. Carr doesn't get deep. Allen goes, but he never gets really deep. Dax goes, never gets deep. Love goes, never gets deep. Purdy goes, and he took it to the house. Well, almost. Goff goes, and he almost took it to the house. Stafford almost took it to the house. All these quarterbacks that I've mentioned till this point, the top quarterbacks, except for Allen, are not rushing quarterbacks. None of these quarterbacks have over 250 rushing yards, except for Josh Allen. So the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks have under 250 rushing yards. Now you can't win without a mobile quarterback, but the top quarterbacks don't have any rushing yards. Let's go back to the list again. Carr don't run. Dak don't run. Love don't run. Purdy, he scrambles. He don't run. He's an escape artist runner. Goff, no running. Stafford, no running. Geno, no running. We finally get down to Lamar, and Lamar is ultra back, which, 800-yard rushing quarterback is, fabulous. You're not going to see that a lot. And he does win with it. I'm not going to say he doesn't. So, it's talent. He's good. He's going. He hasn't got it. But the next quarterback on the list is Tua. And then we round it out with Burrow. So, out of these top 10 quarterbacks on this list, how many of them were rushing style quarterbacks? 2 out of 10 are considered running quarterbacks. I mean, and true pocket passers, if you just want to say true, Dax never leaves the pocket. Love never leaves the pocket. Stafford never leaves the pocket. Geno never leaves the pocket. Goff never leaves the pocket. Purdy leaves the pocket when forced to at the last second. He's not no great guy. He just, once everybody's down the field trying to defend everybody, he's like, oh, hey, I forgot about me. I'll just run. So we get all the way down to Lamar. And then, Lamar and Allen, top 10, 2 rushing quarterbacks. But then you look at it, really, there's not a lot of rushing quarterbacks. Everybody can just move a little. Tua's not a rushing quarterback. He can move. He can't even really move. Burrow, he can run when necessary, but he didn't have over 250 rushing yards. He's not a rushing quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, no. Mahomes, no. None of those quarterbacks, after those 2, have more than 250 rushing yards. That I remember off the top of my head. How about that? What I'm saying is, rushing quarterbacks is not a thing that needs to be. Quarterbacks who stand in the pocket aren't a bad thing. And now, let's talk about that since we're going there to quarterbacks in the pocket. I told you this is going to be one. Sit down because I'm not even finished. Let's talk about these almighty Russian quarterbacks that we brought up. Who is it? Allen is good at this. I don't know how he's so efficient, but he is. He is a Russian quarterback, but he was number one in least sacks taken. That is not the way it usually works for Russian quarterbacks. Let's talk about the running quarterbacks who are out there. And what I do is I just look for who has the most sacks, and that'll probably be a rushing quarterback. So, 29 sacks, that's Baker Mayfield. That's not him. Sam Howard, that's not a rushing quarterback with 24. Where is this dude? Jackson. There he goes. Rushing quarterback, 21 sacks. That's still more than 17. So you can be a rushing quarterback and be a sack artist and get sacked a lot like Jackson does. I mean, 21 sacks it's not like that's a whole bunch, but it's not super proficient. I wouldn't think so anyway. But if it is, then 17 sacks should be even more proficient. And that's how much Aiden O'Connell had in the Antonio Pierce era. So, with all that being said, it's about what the quarterback can do, when he can do it, and the team around him that's doing it, and the head coach that got the team believing in doing it. And when the time comes, someone got to shine bright. If it's your quarterback, then great, it's your quarterback. If your quarterback is getting into the wide receiver and he's shining bright, then great, it's a wide receiver. The team has to meld. The quarterback has to disperse. The players have to perform. The defense has to shut down. And that's how you win. It's not stellar quarterback play. Those aren't stellar quarterback numbers when you do it at the right time. So you got to do it at the right time, and that equals winning. But even still, 5-4 is not the world's greatest record in the 9-game series, in a 9-game stretch. So winning is a lot more than just these numbers. So having these decent numbers means that you can win. If you have these type of numbers, you can win. Ask the last Super Bowl champion. So put a team around these numbers and we can win. We look at what Aiden did versus Patrick Mahomes. What did Aiden do versus Gardner Minshew? Aiden 11 touchdowns, Gardner Minshew 10. Aiden 5 picks, Gardner 4 picks. Aiden 17 sacks, Gardner 20 sacks. Aiden 0 rushing touchdowns, Gardner had 1. Aiden had a fumble, Gardner had 3, and Gardner was actually 6-3 when Aiden was 5-4 over that period. So Aiden, Patrick Mahomes, and Gardner Minshew, all of their numbers very similar. Their total score number in my rankings, same number. One's better interceptions, one has more touchdowns, one has less sacks. So these things going up and down is the reason why they collab into similar numbers. What's the difference in what's the difference in these players, and why does one player seem to be more impressive than the other player? In my opinion, because Minshew's been doing this for 5 years, Patrick Mahomes has been doing this for 7 years, and Aiden O'Connell had did it for a half of a year. His first shot through, with numbers comparable to solid veterans coming through in the worst possible situation you could create for a quarterback. And I believe that that's absolutely true. You throw in a quarterback, a third string quarterback, with no more head coach for the offense, no more offensive coordinator, no one who's ever called any plays, and a defensive head coach who does nothing with the offense. And he comes up with these type of numbers. Great, no. Comparable, very much so. So, what do people see? They see what they want to see. Or they see what's bright and flashy. But what they don't see very often is the numbers and the reality. And the reality is you got to do it right when the right time comes, and winners do that. And you don't have to do it great every time. You have to do it right every time. And that's what Patrick Mahomes ends up doing every time. He does it right. But it's not just him. It's the team around him. It's Kelsey making them better. It's Pachenko making them better. It's whoever the wide receiver's name is making them better. So they're pulling their weight and pulling it hard. So he's making it easier for Patrick Mahomes to push the weight around. And that's what we're going to have to do this year. Everybody's going to have to pull their weight. And we got to stop ignoring the fact that other players on the offense are not pulling their weight. You can't say that it's Aiden O'Connell's fault that Josh Jacobs averaged 3.5 yards. You can if you want to, but realistically, is that true? You can say it's Aiden O'Connell's fault that Devontae Adams didn't have the most catches he's ever had, although he still had over 100, or the most yards he ever had, although he still had over 1,000. But you can't blame Aiden O'Connell for the fact that he was dropping 8% of his passes. So you got to work all together. Everybody has to be pulling their weight. And if those numbers are good enough for Patrick Mahomes to win the Super Bowl, those numbers are at least good enough to get us to the playoffs. And that's what we're going to do next year. And that's why. Because our quarterback is not as bad as everybody thinks. And when you look at the ratings, he's right in the middle where he should be. That's what we need for this team. And he's sitting in the middle next to a 7-year veteran who has Super Bowls all up under his belt and above Gardner Minshew. So he's sitting there in good position for success. And he's only gotten better. And it's the second year, so it's supposed to be a lot better. There's that second year jump that we're hoping for. And it's going to be there. So, was it a long one? Hell yeah. But if you stayed and you watch and you listen and you care and you respect the numbers, if you believe that it makes sense to take all the quarterbacks, rank them as far as worst to first, whoever gets the lowest number has the best chance, as the best overall package as a quarterback. And somehow it's Derek Carr. I don't know. That's what the goddamn numbers say. But the numbers also don't say anything about the moxie of the quarterback. And that's why, although Derek is a good quarterback, if you look at what he's doing, he can't take nobody anywhere. Josh is a great quarterback. His mindset is messed up. He can't take nobody anywhere. Dak's the same. We don't know about Love. Purdy's taking his team there. He must have the right mindset. Golf. There's other people that's top of that list that are taking their teams to the playoffs and going places. There are other quarterbacks that on that list that aren't really going places, but they are taking their teams to the playoffs, but they're not over the hump. But it's not because of the quarterback play. It's not because Dax can't take the Cowboys over the hump. How much better does he have to do? It's because the Cowboys around Dax aren't making it happen. But Dak gets all the blame. So the blame goes to whom the fans choose to place it. And that's why the blame is going to Aiden. Although all the complaints about Aiden are 100% false. What are the complaints? We can't score with Aiden. We had 5 of our last 9 games, we scored 20 or more points. Every time you hear that, oh, the Raiders struggle to score even 20 points. But that's not true. We scored 20 points more than we did in the Antonio Pierce era. What? He takes too many sacks. We sat here and saw right now that he took 17 sacks in the Antonio Pierce era. With Patrick Mahomes and Gardner Minshew in that same span of time, took 20. And no one's complaining about their being flat on their back all the time. And if they're creating so much after the play, it's not enough to make their numbers so much better that they're better quarterbacks on paper. You look at the rank at the record, 5-4, 5-4, and Minshew actually went 6-3. So does that make him the better quarterback? He has the better record. Ask Patrick Mahomes, he'll tell you. It's not always about how great the quarterback can do in the game. The quarterback's overall, in the season, quarterback overall players would take you to the season. Game for game, when the playoffs come, is where the quarterback has to shine. That's when the winning comes. And have we gotten to those games yet? No. We got to put some stuff on the line. And we haven't had a chance to. And he hasn't had any time to get any type of record to where we have something on the line. But I guess save the Minnesota game where we actually could have went to the playoffs if we would have just scored a couple of field goals. So. And you can blame Aiden O'Connell for that too, because it's always his fault, right? Although we just tried to bell cow the whole game and just run it because it was freezing cold and just control the ball and let our defense win it for us, because eventually they're like, we're going to have to score. We'll just keep running it until we get close enough. And we never got close enough and we never scored because we just kept running. And that's why the next game we haven't scored 63 points, because we said, you know what? That running and slowing the game down and trying to wait to win didn't work. Let's air it out. Let's open the game up a little bit. Aiden, throw the ball around. Let's see what we can do. And what we do, score 63 points. Pay attention, people. These things happen. There's a reason they happen in these successions. You gotta watch. These things happen for real, and you can just discount them, but that doesn't make it right. So, talent is there, the ability is there, and if you even want to look at it, Aiden and Minshew are so close together that who knows who'll win, right? You could say it's a quarterback fight, and who knows who wins. And Gardner Minshew is getting $15 million guaranteed, so of course he's going to win, right? All right, that's fine. Go ahead, all you Aiden haters, go ahead and say that's what it is. But that's not what it is. Anyway, we can do it. We got players around us that need to pull their weight, but if the head coach and the offensive coordinator can make it easy on the quarterback, and if the defense steps it up, that's what wins Super Bowls. So we can get that type of play out of our quarterback we did last time. We need our other players to step up around Aiden. And you can say what you want. Everybody around Aiden had a bad season. It's not just Aiden. And you can't blame the reason other people have bad seasons on Aiden. It's just not fair. You can. You can do anything you want to, but at some point, if you tell yourself the truth, you got to say that everybody has a job, and if they didn't pull their weight in their job, there's something that they didn't do as well. So, whatever. Proof's in the pudding. I did the rankings. The quarterbacks is up there. I told you the top 10 was. It makes sense. They all went to the quarterback, to the playoffs. The middle tier are the teams fighting for the quarterback who just barely missed it. That's where we at with Aiden O'Connell. Well, Patrick Mahomes is in the middle tier, but what he has around him is a top-notch offensive coordinator and a top-notch offensive head coach. And team around him that gets absolutely no accolades but does their daggone job, including and especially the defense. So Kansas City wins, and it's not because of Patrick Mahomes' stellar numbers. It's because of how the team functions and works together and how Andy Reid keeps the team together and how his offense is the battery that keeps that car driving to the damn playoffs and through to the Super Bowl. And now we got a coach that can do that. The coach in our defense that'll be driving us through the Super Bowl with Aiden O'Connell distributing our way to the playoffs and maybe even further. So, I'm glad you stuck around. I hope you understand the quarterback comparison. I hope it makes sense to you, and I hope you can take something away from it. I took a lot away from it, and that's where all my thought came to. That's why I was kind of going. I was contemplation, and I wasn't really sure about the show. Anyway, this is fun. Look at the numbers. Tell your friends, and then get ready for the season. All right. Remember, you can't win them all. The clouds get dark. When you're looking for the bright, go to the silver lining. Guru out.